It begins with light, soft light, candlelight flickering against stone walls, a room filled with quiet hope. A child is born and the world leans in. People gather close, smiling, whispering blessings as if words alone can shape destiny. They believe this moment is pure, untouched, safe. We are told this is how the story starts, with joy, with celebration, with the promise that nothing could ever go wrong. But even here, something waits, because not every voice comes to bless. Some come to remind us of what we fear most, that time listens, that fate hears everything, and that no joy lasts forever. A curse is spoken, not shouted, not dramatic, just calm enough to be believed. A needle, a single drop of blood, and a sleep so deep it does not feel like rest. It feels like death learning how to breathe. When we hear this story as children, we are told not to be afraid. We are told it is magic. We are told it belongs to fantasy, a fairy tale, something distant from us. But the body knows better, because the idea of falling asleep and never waking, even gently, touches something old inside us. The princess falls, not suddenly, not violently. She simply stops. Time slows around her. Years begin to pass, but the world does not move forward. It settles. Dust thickens. Footsteps fade. Voices disappear. The castle grows quiet. Not abandoned, paused, as if everyone inside is holding the same breath. Outside, nature begins to remember itself. Thorns crawl over stone walls, slow and deliberate. Vines tighten their grip. What humans built to last begins to soften back into the earth. This part of the story always feels strange, because nothing is destroyed, nothing rots, it only waits. Then, much later, someone arrives. A figure moving through shadow and silence, through thorns sharp enough to draw blood. We are told it is love that guides him, that love is stronger than time, stronger than death. A kiss is placed on sleeping lips, and the world wakes up. The princess opens her eyes, unchanged, unmarked, as if centuries passed her like a dream she never remembered. The castle stirs, music returns, life resumes exactly where it left off. This is where the story usually ends, softly, comfortably. We are meant to feel safe here. We are meant to believe the lesson is simple, that love conquers all, that sleep is never final, that nothing truly bad can last forever. And for a long time, we accept that. But if you stay with the story a little longer, something begins to feel wrong. Because the sleep does not behave like magic. It behaves like memory. The castle does not decay, it preserves. The princess does not age. She waits. The world does not move forward. It pauses, as if it knows this moment must be respected. And suddenly, the question changes. What if this story was never meant to be gentle? What if it was never meant to comfort children at all? What if the sleep was not a spell, but a symbol older than language, older than crowns, older than castles, older than the idea of fairy godmothers? What if this story is not about waking up, but about why humans have always believed that sleep and death are not the same thing? Because long before this story had a name, people were already telling it, not with books, not with ink, but with voices by firelight, with shadows on cave walls, with stories spoken slowly so they would not be forgotten. Sleeping Beauty did not begin as a princess. She began as an idea humans needed in order to survive the dark. And once you realize that, the story never sounds the same again. The story does not stay still. Once it leaves the castle, it begins to travel, not across pages, but across centuries. Across deserts where the wind erased footsteps by morning, across rivers that remembered every name spoken beside them, across fires where people gathered, not for comfort, but for meaning. Long before anyone whispered the name Sleeping Beauty, the story was already alive. It moved quietly, changing shape, wearing different faces, but it always carried the same memory. In ancient Greece, they spoke of gods who did not die, they slept. Heroes who fell into long silence, hidden away from the world, waiting for the moment they were needed again. their bodies still, their power untouched. Sleep was not weakness, it was preservation, a way of stepping outside time. Further south along the Nile, the story grew darker. Osiris, king, god, life-giver, was betrayed, his body torn apart, sealed away in pieces. To the living, it looked like an ending, but to the Egyptians, it was something else. Through ritual, memory, and belief, Osiris returned, not unchanged, but renewed. His stillness was not failure, it was transition. And the people learned something vital from this, that death was not a wall, it was a door. Eastward in the land between rivers, another version waited. Inanna, goddess of love, war, and the sky, she chose to descend into the underworld. At each gate, something was taken from her, a crown, a garment, a symbol of power, until nothing remained. She was hung, lifeless in the darkness, for 3 days. The world above began to fail, crops withered, life slowed, and then she returned, changed, but alive. This pattern appears again and again, different names, different lands, but the same rhythm, a fall, a stillness, a return. These were not coincidences. Ancient people were not copying each other. They were remembering the same truth in different ways. Because 4,000 years ago, people lived closer to cycles. They watched seeds disappear into soil. They watched animals vanish in winter and return in spring. They watched the sun die every night and rise again. They understood something we often forget. Stillness is not absence, it is preparation. Sleep was sacred to them, not because it was pleasant, but because it was dangerous. To sleep was to surrender consciousness, to leave the body unguarded, to drift somewhere unseen. And yet, everyone did it, every night. This made sleep powerful, a small death that could be undone, a rehearsal. When people dreamed, they believed they were traveling, meeting ancestors, hearing gods, receiving warnings. Sleep was a place between worlds. So when stories spoke of a figure who slept for years or centuries, no one laughed. They leaned closer, because they knew that such a sleep meant something important was happening. The sleeping figure was not gone, they were becoming. This is where the meaning of Sleeping Beauty begins to change. She is no longer just a girl in a tower. She is the land itself. She is the field after harvest, bare, silent. She is winter. To ancient people, winter was terrifying, not poetic, not romantic. It meant hunger, cold, death. And yet, winter always ended. The earth slept, and then it woke. This is why so many ancient myths center on sleeping gods, silent queens, hidden kings. They were mirrors, reflections of a world that disappeared and returned. The castle covered in thorns is not decoration, it is protection. In old stories, thorns marked sacred boundaries, places not meant to be entered too soon. The world knew better than to rush rebirth. Time had to be respected, and so the sleepers were left alone, until the moment came. This belief shaped rituals, burial practices, seasonal festivals, sacred calendars. People did not say goodbye forever, they said wait. And slowly, over generations, the stories softened. The gods became symbols, the rituals became tales, and the tale became a fairy story. But the echo never faded, it only hid. Even now, when we hear about a sleep that lasts 100 years, something inside us stirs. Because deep in human memory, sleep has never meant nothing. It has always meant something is coming. The ancients did not ask, will she wake? They asked, when? And that question, more than any spell or kiss, is what carried this story through time. Waiting. That is the oldest echo of all. If you listen carefully, the story begins to change, not in its shape, but in its purpose. Because once the ancient echoes settle, a deeper truth rises to the surface. Sleep was never the end of the story, it was the center. To ancient people, sleep was sacred because it was dangerous, not frightening, but powerful. When the body slept, the soul was believed to wander. It loosened its grip on the world of stone and bone. It moved through unseen places. This is why dreams mattered. They were not distractions, they were messages, warnings, memories, gifts from gods and ancestors who no longer had bodies of their own. To sleep was to step into the unknown and trust that you would return. That trust shaped everything. So when stories spoke of someone sleeping for years, even lifetimes, people understood the weight of it. This was no ordinary rest. This was transformation. The sleeping woman was never meant to be weak. She was chosen. In ancient stories, those who slept deeply were marked, set apart. Shamans entered trances that looked like death. Kings disappeared into ritual silence. Initiates lay still in dark chambers waiting to be changed. They emerged different, wiser, older, reborn. The woman in the tower is part of this lineage. She represents the moment before rebirth, the pause before becoming. Her body lies still, but the world around her is alive with meaning. The castle does not crumble, it holds. The walls do not fall, they protect. This is not imprisonment, it is containment. In ancient belief, transformation required boundaries. Sacred spaces were fenced, caves were sealed, temples were closed during holy times. Nothing sacred was rushed. The thorns surrounding the castle are not there to punish. They are there to keep the world out, to protect the process. Inside, something fragile is happening. Change that cannot be seen. This is why the curse matters. The curse is not evil, it is time speaking honestly, a reminder that nothing grows without passing through darkness. The spindle, sharp and small, is fate. In many ancient cultures, fate was woven, threads cut, lives measured. The needle does not attack her, it calls her. One moment of blood and the door closes. Sleep begins. To us, sleep looks empty. To ancient minds, it was crowded. Crowded with spirits, crowded with memory, crowded with the work of becoming. The sleeping woman is the earth after harvest, stripped bare, cold, silent. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, seeds are breaking open. The story asks us to trust what we cannot see. This is why the awakening does not come with struggle. She does not fight her way back. She does not conquer death. She simply returns. Because rebirth is not a victory, it is a cycle. When she wakes, the castle wakes. Life resumes, not because it was saved, but because it was ready. This is where the modern telling often misleads us. We are taught to see a rescuer, a hero, someone who arrives and fixes what was broken. But the ancient story does not need saving, it needs time. The kiss is not power, it is permission, a sign that the waiting is complete. In older versions of these myths, awakening often came through ritual, season, or alignment, a solstice, a returning sun, a turning of the year. The kiss is simply the final signal, the world saying, now. This is why the story has endured, because deep down, we recognize ourselves in it. We know what it is to be still when we do not want to be. We know what it is to wait through long seasons that feel like endings. Grief, loss, change. Times when life seems paused and the world feels distant. The story does not tell us to rush through these moments. It tells us they matter. That stillness is not failure. That silence can be holy. That nothing meaningful emerges unchanged. Sleeping Beauty is not asleep because she is weak. She is asleep because something inside her and inside us is being prepared. And when the moment comes, when the world is ready to receive what has been forming in the dark, awakening is not dramatic, it is gentle. It feels like remembering who you were meant to become. By the time the story reaches us, it has already lived many lives. It has been whispered by firelight, chanted in temples, painted on stone, softened into something safe enough to tell a child before sleep. But underneath every version, the same truth waits. Sleeping Beauty was never just a fairy tale. She was a memory, a way for humans to survive the hardest moments of being alive. Long before stories were written down, people faced winters that killed, losses that felt final, silences that stretched on without promise. They needed a way to believe the darkness was not permanent. So they told stories, not to escape reality, but to endure it. They spoke of lands that slept instead of dying, of figures who waited instead of disappearing, of time itself slowing so something fragile could be protected. The myth did what facts could not. It gave shape to hope. Over centuries, the world changed. The old gods grew quiet. Rituals became symbols. Symbols became stories. And stories became entertainment. A princess, a curse, a kiss. Simple enough to remember, soft enough to repeat. But the deeper meaning never left. It only hid beneath the surface. You can feel it in the pause before she wakes, in the way the world waits with her, in the sense that something sacred is unfolding, unseen. The story does not promise rescue, it promises return. It tells us that waiting is not wasting time, that stillness can hold purpose, that darkness can be part of becoming. This is why the myth endures, because every human life contains a season of sleep, moments when we feel cut off from the world, when nothing moves forward, when we wonder if what we were has ended. Grief feels like sleep. So does deep change. So does loss. The story does not rush us through these places. It sits beside us. It whispers, "This has happened before." It reminds us that ancient people stood where we stand now. They faced the same fears. They waited through the same silence. And they believed something we still want to believe. That beneath the stillness, life is working. That beneath the silence, memory breathes. That nothing sacred is ever truly gone. When Sleeping Beauty wakes, she does not conquer time, she completes it. She steps back into the world not because she was saved, but because she was ready. This is the truth beneath the story. It is not about magic, it is about trust. Trusting that the dark has meaning. Trusting that waiting is part of the journey. Trusting that what feels like an ending may be a beginning we cannot yet see. And that belief, quiet, stubborn, ancient, is what carried this story across 4,000 years. It survived empires. It outlived gods. It waited, just like the sleeper at its center. Because in the end, Sleeping Beauty is not a princess. She is every human who has ever stood in the dark, hoping that something is still forming beneath the silence. And maybe that is why this story never fades. It does not need to be remembered. It is already awake, inside us.